factor in that third quarter when you're kind of struggling to get going?
You lost me I'm 0 for 1 right now.
O-line seemed pretty banged up by the end of the game. To what extent, if any, when you were struggling on offense, were protection issues?
Yeah, everybody plays, everybody goes, so you get your opportunity to play, you got to capitalize on it. So we don't look at it and say, hey, you didn't start the game, so it's okay to miss protection or that. But a lot of times when you look at it, when sacks occur, sometimes, it's not always what people think sometimes. It may not just be the line, it could have been which way we directed it. It could have been the receiver not running the right route, so the quarterback has to hold the ball a little bit longer. So, when we do take a sack, or we do give up a sack, there's a lot more people involved than just the offensive line. Some of it's on the quarterback. Could have been a hot throw, and that was the guy that was coming clean, and that's his guy. But I got to look at the tape, and we'll look at the tape of the staff, but we certainly have to correct that.
Chip, you had a play on in the second quarter. It was third and 12, and you handed the ball off to D'Anthony, who got a 13-yard gain. What does that mean to have a kid on the team who can, obvious passing down, but you can still make a running call there? What does that mean?
Yeah, that's really got nothing to do with D'Anthony. That was just kind of our game plan going in. We knew that spacing that their defense gave us on long yardage situations, it was probably better for us to run the ball than to throw the ball. He just happened to be the back end at that time. With both him and Kenyon, we feel like in every situation when we hand it to him, the good things are going to happen.
Coach, you guys have been such a great second half team for so long. Is it all this concern for you that today the ones and twos struggle so much in second half on offense, especially?
No, because we never talk about being a great second half team. We want to be a great first quarter team, second quarter team, third quarter team, fourth quarter team, overtime team. I think when you kind of turn it on and turn it off, that's what we need to work on as a group, and that's what I think this group needs to learn as we keep moving. It's not, hey, we got a lead, so now we got to kick our feet up. It's you got to bear down a little bit more. But when you have youth like we do in some spots, that's what this deal's all about. But it's a lot easier to make corrections when you win than it is to make corrections when you lose.
How much of the second half struggles though were Fresno's defense? Because they look like they played very physically. They flying to the ball. They did. How much of it was them? How much of it was you?
I've got to totally look at the tape, Aaron, but it is, and I'll give them credit. I think that Tim does a nice job, and he's always done a nice job schematically, defensively, and it seemed like those guys picked up really quickly on what they were doing. So I will give Fresno State credit, and they should. When there's two teams out there, we have a plan going into every game, but they have a plan too. And that's the fun part of coaching, and to see what they're going to do and how they deploy their guys and how we deploy our guys, and then kind of what works. But I saw some guys out there just watching the game when you're seeing it from my side, like it's pretty good players, physical on the defensive side of the ball. I thought they kept the ball in front of them. They wouldn't let us get behind them. We tried to take a couple shots, but I thought they covered pretty well. And eventually, I think our athletes, the Kenyons and the D'Anthonys and Marcus, when they kind of flushed him a few times. I think that's an added dimension for us that you got to really account for him when he's tucking it and running. But we needed all those guys today because that is a good team. I really tip my hat to those guys.
Coach, Marcus had his first real dilemma today, his first real kind of adversity. Can you talk about how well he responded to that? Because it looked like he came back pretty calm after that first fumble and was able to respond pretty well to that.
Yeah, and it was his first. Obviously, he went 7 for 7 in terms of drives for touchdowns in the first game, and then we didn't have the same success this week. And the one thing about Marcus is I don't think his demeanor changes. I think he's a real focused young man, and that's one of the great things about him is that he's just not going to blow up, lose confidence. I think you saw that. He got hit a couple times pretty good, but then bounced back up and was always on to the next play. And I think that will bode well for us as we move in the future because we know we're not going to be successful all the time, and you got to be able to handle it. But I thought he did a decent job overall.
Chip, you guys lost Josh early in the game. And is there any concern about your receiving corps when you look at, especially without him? You guys may not have that deep, big play threat at receiver right now.
When someone goes down, next guy's in. That's football. At every level, no matter where you are, whether it's the NFL, college, high school, you go. So if anybody on our team, when you saw Josh go down, is like, oh my God, we're in trouble because we don't have Josh anymore. I mean, that's what these guys practice for. That's what we coach for. We got to go to the next guy in, and that's been our mentality since I've been here. That's why we don't talk about it. Next guy, go, and let's go. We still didn't change our game plan.
I do have Josh Huff and Eugene in the other room. Any other questions for Chip?
Coach, you talked about Marcus a little bit. How was his decision-making process process today. It looked like obviously there were some protection issues, but overall, how was his decision making?
Not overall, he was decent. You know, got to look at the film more to see the particulars, but overall, I thought Marcus did a nice job. Dwight, no time.
Sorry, let you down.
I talk about you being the best dressed guy every time.
I am.
Well, Fentress went tight today.
My imagination, or were your center snaps a little more erratic today than
So either me and you got really bad eyesight, or you saw the ball sprayed around a little bit. So I saw the same thing you saw. So you know, we
How much
obviously
does that impact what the quarterback is?
a little bit. Kenyon made some. You know, we did not have any direct snaps into the tailback today, but that happened. So, you know, we certainly need to talk to him. Sometimes he seems like he gets in a rhythm sometimes, and that happens, and we just need to. You know, we got to coach that a little bit better. But they were off a little bit today, and that can disrupt your timing. So fortunately, it did not hurt us, you know, catastrophically where the ball's on the ground and something's happening, but it does disrupt the timing of the plays.